Hello, everyone. I am Mustard's human employee, name undisclosed. Not going to share it because, it's not in the contract. I am pleasantly joined with
Sammer Jammer. Yeah.
Sammer Jammer. Thanks for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good right now. I told you I was going to be in my friend's dorm, but I'm actually in like the little hallway because like four of his friends just came like by to visit at like the very like wrong time, I think.
That's usually how it happens. But no worries.
That's college for you, I guess. But
That's true. And you're at UConn, right?
I am at UConn. I'm a sophomore right now.
Nice. How's that going?
Pretty good, I'd say. Dorm life is cool. I mean, I went to a UConn game the other day, and like I don't even know how to describe it. Like, obviously, like Gamble Pavilion, it like is like a great atmosphere, but like not when you're like. Because originally we started off the season like 13-0, but now we just suck. So that's great.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been keeping up. The Huskies aren't doing as well as before.
They were like third in the nation for the longest time, and then like they lost to Xavier on New Year's, and now they're just like they're 15th in the nation instead of second. Yeah.
Hopefully they'll have a come up again, and they'll get back. They'll get back to it. But yeah, Gamble's a beautiful arena. I saw Gambino there when I used to live up there. Even though I wasn't a student, I don't know how I was able to get in to that show because I wasn't a student. They were very strict about that. But no, hopefully they have a come up again. So you're a student. When did the music aspirations start?
Great question. It technically started like around. It's funny you mentioned Gambino because like as soon as I was in study hall and I just put on like I was just getting into community at the time, but this is great, And what happened was I didn't realize that like Gambino and like Donald Glover were the same person, and then I was like, oh, this guy makes music, and then I didn't like, oh, he's that guy. Yeah. And what happened was I listened to like for some reason like the song that like I really liked the most was Bonfire. So I was like, oh, let me listen to that entire album. That album is literally like, it's the reason why I make the stuff I make today. As far as like, because just like, not only like the reason why I think that's like the most influential album to me is like, not because like the strings, because I love strings and like messing around with it and stuff like that.
Same.
But also just like, of course, strings are awesome. But like the reason why is because like, it was just because everything he was doing at the time, what he released it, he was on Community, he was doing stand-up, he was doing all of this stuff at the same time. And part of me wants to do something similar to that as far as like being able to like do well in like multiple creative like aspirations and like in different fields at the same time. Like I don't know, but like ever since I listened to that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna just go on GarageBand and just record on like my gaming headphones and just see what comes up. I dropped this isn't online anymore, but on summer of 2019, I dropped my first ever like mixtape, if you will.
Yeah.
There was no mixing. It was all beats I made on GarageBand using like the little like GarageBand loops and maybe like 2 or 3 like stolen free for profit YouTube beats. Yeah. Like most people do when they just start and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dropped maybe like 3 mixtapes or albums within the span of a year, just because I was just like trying stuff out. And then COVID hit, and obviously like I just had like so much free time on my hands. So I was like, you know what, let me pursue this a little bit more. Let me try to like test the waters with this. And with that, I don't know, I listened to like Pray for Paris by West Side Gun, if you know of like the album. Great album, by the way. And that pretty much just like got me into like that style, like that whole production style. But if I were to go back a little bit, the like my sound, like another album that came around like that time was Igor. Like when I remember listening to it when it first came out, because I had a friend that was a big Tyler fan at the time. And I was like, who is this guy? Then I listened to it and I heard Boy's a Gun. And I was like, oh, this guy, he's good. And I've been a big Tyler fan ever since. So both Tyler and Gambino are like big influences of mine.
Yeah, and
as you could tell.
Yeah, no, they're both very within the same realm, but like not within the same realm. They're both very like, because I know Tyler wants to do like a lot of like videos and stuff. Like I still find it crazy that he was in a Illumination movie doing the soundtrack for The Grinch of all things. But I was like, oh, this is, because I'm so used to like the horrorcore Tyler when he first started, and I was like, you know what? Yeah. But no, I can definitely see the influences in both of them. And Camp was a big, real influential album for me too. I remember thinking that last track on the album, I'm forgetting the name of it off the top of my That Power. Yes. Like that story at the end, that monologue, I was like, oh, like, and then, I think Mustard and we also went through the same thing. We're not realizing that they were the same people. Because I think I listened to Freaks and Geeks the first time. I was like, it's braggadocious, but it's all right. And then I started Community as well and had the same like epiphany. The light bulb went off. But yeah, and then Igor is a great album too. So Tyler and Gambino, you would say, are your biggest influences?
Oh, absolutely, for sure. And it doesn't even come close. Like those two are like literally, like you can have like influences or like, oh, I like their stuff and I want to like take parts of it, but they're like literally the reason why I do this. They're the reason why I'm having this convo with you as we speak.
That's awesome. And then I'm trying to think. Gambino hasn't really done anything new besides like Atlanta, and Tyler. I feel like he's been doing more music stuff. But what's your like creative process when it comes to writing?
Okay, so my creative process is pretty much most of the time like because it always starts with producing. In my opinion, because I'm now like a big producer. Not big, but like I'm very big on it. Like, I make all my own beats now, except for like one or two. Like if I release a project now, I want to have this theme where it's like I produce like 90% of it, but then like there will be 2 songs where I don't produce it and I shout out the producer, whether it be a friend of mine or someone that I really think like, only it's like 2 monthly listeners on Spotify or something like that. Something like that. But as far as like my creative process, I always make the beat first and then I write after. Like I write as like that's how I do it. I don't like have, or sometimes I would just like take lyrics that I would just like have like written for a song, but then like I don't want to use it, and I would try to use it for like another song, which my friends tell me that's not great, but it's worked for me so many different times. Like I don't know, like, but as far as like actually, I'm also very picky when it comes to recording. Like it has to be like the perfect take, or if not, I used to try to do like one in one take. And if it's like one thing's off, I have to like, I just like
redo it.
Yeah. So
that's all. It's so fascinating seeing how each artist works. And I think it was on your Instagram that you make your beats when you're bored. Is that still true or?
So true. So true. Because it's like when I have nothing else to do, I like just I either go on TrackLib, I go on Splice, or I go on just like YouTube, and I just like look up like soul sample playlists on like YouTube, and I just shuffle. And the first one that catches my ear within like 5 seconds of listening to it, that's the one I usually gravitate to. Because like, I mean that, or I just like scroll through it to see if like there's like a big outro or whatever. But I haven't. The thing's about producing with me, I didn't start getting into it really until like last year, as far as like my own style. Okay. And I think I've made at least like, since I started producing, at least like 250 to 300, maybe 320 beats.
That's amazing.
In the past like 3 years.
That's amazing.
Stuff, so, yeah.
Do you ever like think of beats when you're in class, like you should be focusing, but you're like, no, like this would work for that?
There's one time where that happened, and the time I was actually in this like music class. It wasn't like, it was like kind of just like music history. It wasn't like anything too crazy. And I'm not one, I want to get more into like actually like making my own melodies and stuff. And then like, and this was like a really weird incident. Like our teacher wasn't like we couldn't use our laptops to take notes, and I didn't have a notepad. So I would just use like sticky notes that I would have like in my backpack to take notes. And no one questioned it, but I was like, okay.
That works.
But then I it works. It's literally, it's whatever. But what happened then was like, I came up with like, I haven't released the song or the beat yet, but it was like, I came with like do 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 do. It's like, that's how I want, like that's, it came into my head. It's like, oh, I got to write this down. And then I made it on, this was when I was at UConn Hartford actually. Okay. And I made this beat on the bus ride back from my class.
Oh, nice.
And I literally made it on like the bus ride back. And then I submitted it to myself and I just was listening to it on the way back. Like, because the whole deal with me being in UConn Hartford was like my classes would be until like 9. I would be on a bus that's an hour long. I would be back at 10. Then I had to take a 15-minute walk to my dorm. So I'd be back in my dorm at least like 10, 20 every so often.
That's a long day.
Yeah, but I'm at stores full time now, which is good. But yeah, that's kind of just as far as like with me, like coming up with like stuff like during class and stuff. But overall, I'm trying to be like very like, what's the word? Like try to be like productive in class as well.
Productive in class, yeah. And Storrs is such a beautiful campus for anybody watching this who hasn't been to UConn in Connecticut. Beautiful campus, massive. Like it's like its own little city in itself. But yeah, beautiful campus, and there's so much like space to walk around and probably get inspiration from, just your fellow students and stuff.
Yeah.
And then,
no, like for sure. Yeah.
And then, so we've talked about albums that have influenced you, Camp by Gambino, Igor by Tyler. If you could like have a collaboration with anybody besides those two, or like work with anybody besides those two, who would be on that list? Or
okay, this is, and I'm gonna go with a very like, I'm not gonna go out and say like, oh, I want to collab with freaking Jay-Z. I'm not gonna say that. I like, okay, well, there's two that come to mind. One of them is Denzel Curry, who I personally like a lot. Like and I've been seeing he's on like a whole feature run right now, so that'd be cool to be a part of. That and Red Veil, if you know who that is. Red Veil, he is.
I don't know Red Veil.
Red Veil, he's basically like an artist out of, I believe, Maryland. I could be wrong, but basically he's been like on like the underground scene. He's toured with like Freddie Gibbs, Denzel Curry.
Oh, okay.
So like he's kind of on that like little radar, and he's another influence of mine, believe it or not, because like he's like maybe like a couple months or a few months like younger than me.
Oh, okay.
But he's like, I saw that he like someone at his age was like doing, well, it was succeeding at that level. I was like, oh, if he can do it, and don't get me wrong, the bro he's so talented. Like it's not even close. Like he's such a good producer. I want to give him all the flowers in the damn world just because of how like he deserves his props. Yeah. And with me, like he's also like I said, an influence of mine. Cause just seeing like him at that age, like doing that, I was like, oh, maybe like I'm young too. Maybe that just shows that like maybe I could do something similar. Yeah. Not to compare myself to him, but just like he showed the way. Like I don't know how to put it specifically, but it's more like
you got inspired by him. You saw what he was doing, kind of like with Glover. Like he does all these multiple things. Tyler does all these things, and you got inspired, and motivated by them to want to pursue it too.
Yeah, it just showed that like that's possible. That like someone his age could like do that. Because usually like people who are like really young, like they're not. From my understanding of it, is like they're not too respected, or like you have to be like at least like 26 or have like something. Like Gambino didn't drop like Camp till he was like 25 or 26.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, and I don't know how it is now, but I know like paying your dues was a big thing. Like you had to pay your dues to get that respect and everything. I don't know what the scene is like now, but I think like the talent will speak for itself, and I feel like that's something that you're definitely striving and doing.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
And then I'm trying to think. Is there a? Because I know like though rappers and all that stuff. Is there like a word or like a phrase that you haven't used yet, or you want to try to figure out how to like rhyme with it about? Like orange, for example, people say you can't rhyme anything with orange. Is there like a word or like topic or something that like is in your repertoire, but that you're trying to like figure out how to use or like you want to use?
I hope this answers your question, but with me, I definitely am a big guy like with pop culture references and stuff, like in my songs and stuff. So I've definitely been like thinking about like ways to like incorporate like just not only like movie like references like movie and TV and music, but like other stuff as well, like like current events and like all this stuff. Like I don't know, like I don't know, like because my dad did like improv when he was like in college and stuff, so I kind of have like some like I can think on the spot, I can improvise in a like somewhat quick way, or quick witted as you would put it.
Yeah.
But so I really like using. Also, like I'm just like I wouldn't say I'm like a nerd, but I'm very much like I love like pop culture. So to be able to like show that like in like my like with community references and stuff, but that's like where I excel at. So just it also just shows like a part of me, And with music, with me, I just use it as a way of self-expression. So and it will always be that way. So
that's awesome, and definitely like because your latest song, which we'll talk about soon, has community on the cover, and then what you released before that, Keep Your Ear Out. Could you share more about that release?
Yeah, of course. So with that release, it was I believe I made it, that entire project, in like maybe like a week.
Okay.
It's only like 5 or 6 songs. But the song GoPro that was on it, that song wasn't supposed to be on it. So the whole like idea I had for the EP was that it was gonna be like a trilogy, right? So Keep Your Ears Out, then it'd be Keep Your Ears Out 2, like 2 as spelling with 2 O's. Then it would be like in the cover art, because how the first cover art is like it's like an ear, just the ear. The other cover art would just be like an ear, but on like the right side instead of the left side.
Okay.
And then like the other one, I haven't came up with the third title, but it would be like some pun about nose, being like everyone knows, like
nice.
kind of in a way, like. And the reason why I wanted to do that was because I intended to originally to do like a drop like every like 2 or 3 weeks, like kind of building up hype for myself as far as like promoting it, being consistent and all that. But GoPro was supposed to be on the second project, but I added it to the first project just because and I think it was a good decision because I think that's easily like one of the better songs like on that project, like production wise. So
no, GoPro is a great song. And there's tons of community references throughout the album too. And since I wore the community shirt for the interview too, let's talk a little bit. Do you have a favorite season or episode of Community or like moment? Is that a loaded question?
No, not at all. I can talk community all day. With me, it's favorite season is season 3 for sure. Because just so much just happens in that season. Yeah. And in my opinion, it's like the last like really good season, because obviously season 4, like that whole thing.
Yeah, the gas leak year.
The gas leak year, exactly. I think I have a favorite episode. I think it's either the one where it's like either the Halloween episode, but not the one where it's like they all get attacked by zombies, but it's like the one where like they all tell scary stories in like the study room.
Oh yeah,
that one, or the Law and Order like spinoff.
Oh, that one's great. Yeah,
that one. I just thought it was like so funny, like Ben and Troy like playing like good cop, bad cop, and then like it's like Troy says like when he's like reading like the Miranda rights or whatever they're called, it's like we're not actually arresting you. You can leave if you want. Like that's like a parody of it. I just thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, those episodes in like that season, I just thought that they were just, especially in comparison to the first season, it started off like kind of slow, but then it just snowballed into like the show that it became.
Yeah, definitely. So, definitely. Yeah. Cause I've been doing a rewatch, and the the Kitchen Mafia episode, with all the chicken tenders and everything. That one still remains that one still remains a favorite. Was season, I think for me personally, it's season 2 because of the conspiracy theory episode. I really love with the Dean with the time hoodie, and then season 6 has been growing on me too. Even though the original cast wasn't there, I think it still had its good moments. Do you ever plan to cover like the Spanish rap or the Payday rap at all?
I could never touch that. I'm not that good. Yeah. I'm not that good, but I may make like a reference to it, or like maybe like try to like sample it, or like in the beginning of a song, then like have it. Like that's the most I could do. But those songs, in my opinion, are untouchable.
Yeah.
As far as or covering and all that. So.
Yeah, and you're not going to cover Brit is a Bee or Some Worries.
Brit is a Bee is like generally a good song in my opinion.
It is.
Like the singer who actually sung it is actually like good, which is like insane.
Yeah, I really wish that character came back. Spawn.
Me too. Him and his 3 introductions. Like you always say like hi, hello, hey, or something. Yeah. And then, since we're on the topic of Community, your most recent song, has the cover of Community from one of the Halloween episodes. What made you decide to go with that as the cover? I was just like going on like Pinterest at the time, and I saw that. I was just like looking for like cover arts and stuff, and I saw that picture, and for some reason I was like, not only was like, oh, this like I think goes well. Like also there's 3 reasons. One, I was listening to it and I was like, oh, this fits it. Oddly enough, like. The second thing, I love the color of it, like just the color, like how like Troy's wearing like the red, and like I don't know, and like you have freaking Abed Batman in the left hand corner. But I think the third reason why is just because like I don't know, there's like I think it's because like in that scene there's like or in that episode there's like the scene where it's like Abed's like talking like as Batman before like the episode, or like as the episode's about to end. I don't know, I just love that specific scene so much that I wanted to like almost pay tribute to that, or like I don't know. That's like where my brain was at with that.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, so. that Batman monologue that he does at the end is hysterical and so spot on. So spot on. And then later on, I think in season 3 they have Abed as Batman again, and then they have like the police officer guy be like, "You're trusting this guy, the guy in the Batman suit." And I just love the Community for that aspect where they're always calling back to themselves. There's so many like Easter eggs within everything. And then could you share more about your most recent single that just came out and where to find it and listen to it?
So once again, the whole process is how, as far as like the beat that I made for it, I was just like going through samples and I just saw that sample and I forgot what the name of the sample is, but it'll probably come to me later. Actually, no, that's a lie. I don't remember the sample. But what happened was I made it and I thought like I'm pretty sure I don't know if it's exactly what they're saying, but it's like the vocals and like the background. I thought it was said "Ain't Quite Like You." Oh, okay. And that's what I thought and that's why I titled it that. And then from that point, I was like, oh, let me make a song about like, how I'm not like you per se, or like, trying to be like, different and all that stuff. But honestly, I don't want to like make shit that other people are making, like, I don't want to, I don't know. I just don't want to like be like another like guy who like rips off like Free for Profit, Juice WRLD beats and stuff. I don't want to like. I want to not only do I want to have fun with it, but I want to do it in like my own way.
In your own way. So. You're trying to find your authentic voice. Your authentic version of yourself that you want to present to yourself, and you're responding to that. And I think that's really cool. That's what you did in that single. Yeah. And then is that single going to be a part of anything else in the future? Is that going to be like on an EP or album or mixtape or something like that? Or is it like a standalone?
I'm very glad you said that because it's actually going to be part of like I say like like an asterisk on mixtape / album because it's like both like it's the style of a mixtape, but it's like labeled as like it's like literally it's a mixtape, but it's labeled an album on like Apple Music and streaming platforms and all that. But I am planning on dropping an album soon with that.
Oh, sweet.
And all I'll say on it right now is like the album name is like Ill Assortment.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because like I'll mention the cover art too. So the cover, I found this picture of like this old dude. Now, like it was just a crop of like an old guy, and I zoomed in and I saw that he had a blue eye and a brown eye. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I have heterochromia, meaning like I have like a blue and a brown eye.
I did not know that.
And I was like looking up like words for like mismatch and stuff like it, and then like synonyms for mismatch, and saw Ill Assortment. And the name of the reasoning behind it is like there's like 3 meanings. One is like obviously like like the idea of like mismatch is like, or Ill Assortment is like, oh, a mismatch, like when someone's like in the basketball sense, it's like when someone's bigger than you that's like guarding you, you know, like that's a mismatch.
Yeah.
You know, so I wanted to have like some like ego and want to be like, oh, if me compared to other artists, like that's a mismatch.
Okay,
you know?
okay, yeah.
Another reason, awesome, whatever. But then another reason is because like Ill Assortment, I want like the tracks to like really like complement each other transition wise. So I'll be like an ill assortment of tracks. Then another reason is because like obviously it references my eyes and stuff, and it's I talk about like I know like my eyes are like my heterochromia is like a part of me, so it's very much about like self-expression and being okay with who I am and all that. So
that's awesome. So there's layers upon layers upon layers to it, which is really cool. Well, we're looking forward to that. And just let us know, and Music Shelf will help promote it and everything. We try to promote as much as possible. And then I know you're big on, Instagram, which is where we found each other. How's social media been for you as an artist? How's that helped out?
It's helped out, but there's been also elements where it has not been the most helpful. Like I found my biggest like quote unquote haters and stuff, but also like my biggest fans off it. So it's like a positive and a negative.
Yeah.
But also that just comes with like promoting yourself. Obviously you're gonna have people who give you criticism or who just hate just to hate, which is completely fine. Cause it's like you can't do this and not expect or just expect everyone to like your stuff. That's impossible.
That's true. That's true.
Because I live by the motto, like you can't please everybody, which is like so true. And I've struggled with that for a minute, but now I'm like, I can't please everyone. I don't like everyone. So why should I try to appeal to everyone?
That's true.
So
no, that's a great mindset. Even with Music Shelf, sometimes I feel like I'm promoting too much and like I'm flooding you guys with all this promotional stuff in Instagram stories, but it's a part of the job. So, but no, there's, like you said, there's always going to be haters and always people trying to discredit you, for their own reasons or whatever the case may be, but, not focusing on them. I think it's the right way and great way to go about it for sure. And then when you're promoting and everything, do you think of it as a content mindset? Like TikTok, for example, it's just trends and sounds and all that, and that could become too much. Do you think in the concept like you're just living your daily life and you're walking down the sidewalk at stores? Are you thinking like, oh, this could be content for something, or does it just come to you?
It comes, and to answer your question, I think with that is like, if you're asking more of like, would I like, if I'm making a song, like, do I see like, oh, this could be like a trend, this could be like a little soundbite.
Yeah.
I like, trust me, I could go down that path, but I choose just strictly not to, because I want just the music itself to talk, like to speak for itself and to do justice, rather than like having to like make like the next like trend. I'm not the type of person to do like sped up remixes or whatever, even though sometimes I've done that with a few songs and they have been good, but it's like I don't want to hear myself sounding like a chipmunk. Like something that I've like worked very long and hard on. But I don't know, just like with all of that, I mean, I do try to like create, like, or not create, but like actually not yet. I create like a moment or like a feeling that's how I do it. And the content kind of just comes naturally. I feel like whether it's like, I just use like pictures I think fit the vibe or something that I would find off like Pinterest or something. Or that's mainly my promotion right now. And yeah, I got to work on that as far as like, social media and all that. But I got a long way to go. So.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's a learning thing for sure. And then you let the art speak for itself, which I think is probably definitely the most important. You let the art speak for itself, and then fans and listeners gravitate towards that, and they see that too. And I think they probably appreciate that. So because we're just so flooded by content and ads and everything as it is. So
yeah.
No, that's pretty cool. And then I saw something on your Instagram, I think it was like a day or two ago, that you wanted to start like an album club at UConn. Did you get any feedback about that? Do you plan to do that at all?
I do. I've posted it on like my UConn like class 25 like Snap story or whatever, and like I got a few like responses and stuff. But mainly it would just be like a club where like we would talk about like it would be like a book club but for like albums and stuff. That's cool. The main premise of it, which I think is a cool idea, a cool concept. And like we would just like cover like albums like that I think are like big influentially, like Blonde and like Igor and like other stuffs, but not only within that like that little subgenre, but I kind of want to like use it to like expand out and like hear like I haven't heard like Dark Side of the Moon. I think that's what it's called by Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. Or like any artists like that. So I definitely want to like expand, like use it to like expand my horizons, but also just meet people who are just as passionate about music as I am.
No, that's awesome. I hope that comes to fruition, and it's something that you're able to do, because I feel like that's something that would thrive at UConn with how many students are there and how creative everyone is there. So hopefully that ends up happening.
Fingers crossed, So
fingers crossed. So you have your new song which just came out. You teased, your future album. Is there anything else in the works?
I will say this. So there's a friend of mine who I've been friends with for like maybe 2 to 3 years now, and his name is Quinfinity. Like that's his rapper name. I suggest you guys check him out. Okay. And I don't know what the name is specifically, I think, but him and I were working on like a collab album. Like, I don't know when exactly it's going to come out, but it's going to be a thing where it's like, he's going to do all the rapping, but I'm going to be making like all of the beats, almost like like a no worries type deal. Where it's like, it's Anderson .Paak being like the main dude, but it's like knowledge on like the beats and stuff. Cause I want to do stuff where like I just produce too. And like, cause I think I'm a better producer than I am a rapper, and it's not close. So,
okay. Well, hopefully, this year and, the following, you'll be able to build up your production, and just keep working on that, and then maybe turn that into like a full-time thing. Do other artists, local artists in the area, have they like reached out to you for production, or do you reach out to them?
I reach out to them usually to try and get within my local scene and stuff. Like, I actually found your page because I saw you did something on Justin Esmer. I think that's his name.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how I found you actually, because I saw the repost he posted on story. I was like, oh, let me reach out to them. And that's also why we're talking right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, no, Esmer was a great interview, and since I'm originally from Connecticut, I try to like reach out to as many Connecticut artists as possible. Have you heard of Thorn Malik at all? They're also from Connecticut. I have not. I highly recommend you check them out. We went to like summer camp together, which was cool. But he's like he's a really great rapper as well. But no, that's awesome that Music Shelf could do that and brought this all together, because that's the goal.
Exactly.
And I think it's fascinating how like this will go up on YouTube, you'll share it, and then probably more Connecticut artists will either reach out to you or reach out to me, or vice versa, or both. And then it just grows and grows, and the community builds up that way. So that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Before we go, I do have one more thing to quote unquote announce or want to bring up. So I don't know when we started this, but maybe like 3 weeks, like December of last year.
Mhm.
And what happened was me and this dude so long story short, this is when Brockhampton was breaking up, right?
Mhm.
Like, and like the whole, like when they were having the rollout for the last album. And Kevin Abstract, he posted on Twitter, he was like, oh, it sucks they're breaking up, but like in like the little like subtweets or whatever they're called, like in the replies, try to find like people who do this, like try to connect with people in like the replies. And I went to that tweet, and then there was this Discord server that was made because of it. And it was just a bunch of artists who wanted to collab and stuff. Then I found this one dude, his name is Xavier Almighty. Bro, it's like 15, 16. It's insane. And we were like talking about like, yo, you want to start a group? And I was like, sure, why not? And what happened there was like, we were talking, and then all of a sudden we were like coming up with group names, and I said the Illest Village. Basically, long story short, I'm in this little group called the Illest Village. Planning on dropping stuff. It's a sick name because it's also like there's a bunch of like subliminal meaning behind, like obviously like the village, like it can mean like one of them said like, oh, like the Olympic Village, how like we're all like you know, like a bunch of great people being brought together in like one space.
Yeah.
But also it could be like a village. I think of like a neighborhood, like cul-de-sac. Like, cause I grew up in a cul-de-sac. My memory of like hanging out with like neighborhood kids, like that was very joyous. But like I get that same feeling when I collab with people that get what I'm doing and who have the same aspirations as me. So like that's kind of why.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know when we're gonna be dropping, but it's just I just want to point that out for like anyone. We have like an IG. It's called the Illest Village. I don't know if you do like links in the description, but
yeah. I'll do links in the description.
I'll send you the link, but definitely keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
That's all I got to promote. So
awesome. Yeah. Everybody, we thank everybody for watching. Go to the links in the description. I'll link your newest single is linked in there. Keep Your Ears Out is linked in there. And then, I'll have this linked in there as well. Go, everybody pause the video, go listen to it, go follow. Is it Samer Jammer? No, it's Samuel Johnson, right?
It's Samuel Johnson, but it's like the 3 is an E, but like the first O in Johnson is a 0. I got to change that. I'm not an athlete. I don't wear 30 on my back. They just looked cool. But for right now, that's my Instagram username. So.
Okay, and that'll be in the link in description as well.
Yes, it will be.
So everything will be in there. And then what Music Shelf will do as well is you'll go up on our artist page as well. So you go to Music Shelf with Mustard, and then you'll go to the artist page, and then there'll be a photo of you. And then anybody that goes to the artist page that clicks on your photo, it will bring them to this interview they're watching right now.
Perfect.
So it'll link to this, and then all your other stuff will be there. So hopefully it's all intertwined.
Okay.
That's the goal. But yeah, everybody keep an eye out or ear out, I should say, for Illest Village and your newest single, and keep your ear out the album and everything else. And we're excited to see what else is in the future for you.
Thank you.
All right. Do you have any last words?
Thank you for having me. Any last words? I guess the last words I just want to say is, I'm just going to shout out a bunch of my friends. Shout out to my friend Devin. He's insane. He's incredibly creative, very talented. Shout out to Quinn Fendi, Justin Anda. Justin Anda, he freaking had a TikTok that blew up the other day.
Oh, nice.
It's insane. He's awesome. He's so wholesome. Shout out to my friend Dom. If he's watching this, he's a big like film head. He's been on some different stuff I won't get into, but he's been on his shit. Shout out Maurice, Bearcat. He has a new song called, I forget what the song is called, but like he also makes music and stuff. He's also in like a little Illest Village group. But also just shout out to whoever's watching this, honestly. Whoever sat down or got food and like watch this on YouTube and stuff. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Music Shelf appreciate. No, that's awesome. Music Shelf appreciates you as well. If you follow Mustard on Twitter, Mustard always says Mustard appreciates and is grateful for you, and that's just not a saying. That's like legitimate. So we thank you as well, and thank you for being here and speaking with us today.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. Seriously.
Of course. And then, just feel free to send stuff to us and, we'll be happy to promote and, keep it going.
Perfect.
All right. Well, we will keep in chat. We will keep in touch.
All right.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much.
You too.
Y'all in this shit for the wrong reasons. Now it's open season. Coming for y'all, need that mindset. Dog eat dog, smell fear.